how you approached making the investment in Chief. You spoke a little bit about it, Shauna, around like I spend money in other places. I had to sit and think about, the investment in myself. But how did you think about the investment in membership? You guys were both self-funded members at the, right? Okay. So let's go, Shauna, let's start with you. Talk about just like, the mental calculus as your fintech side around that. And then Robbie will go to you too with the same question.
Yeah, I mean, I've self-funded from day one, and I think retrospectively, I'm glad I made that choice. I talked about it being the one of the biggest investments I've made in myself, and I
Yeah.
spend, it's not hard to spend on other things. But investing in my own growth feels different. It's more meaningful. And because I self-fund, I'm intentional about getting like the full value. I show up, I participate, I connect. And now that I'm in transition, Chief is something I include in my negotiation list, because I see it as a part of how
Yeah,
I
that's smart.
perform and lead,
Yeah.
right? So I know maybe we're hitting all the points on negotiation. Salary's great, hours are great, all of the other things, title's fine. What's this additional part that I can, hey, what about learning and development? What about professional development? So I always keep that in the back of my mind, but I know that, if they, I always talk about there's two people responsible for your career, your boss and you. And if
Yeah,
one
yeah,
person
yeah.
fails, like you need a backup. So if the
Yeah.
company is like, hey, we're not going to fund this, I know that I'm going to fund it because I find it to be that valuable.
Interesting. I love that. All right. Those are some great little nuggets there. Rabia, talk
Um,
to me from your side.
yeah, for me, honestly, I wasn't sure when I made the decision. I justified it just like Shauna said, okay, we're businesswomen, right? We know this is an
Yeah.
investment, it's an investment in me. I'm going to give myself a year. I honestly
Yeah.
picked up and said, okay, I'm going to give it myself a year. And I wasn't sure if the caliber and the trust and all of that, all of the
Right.
different parts of the formula would work. And a year in, I was like, yeah, this was the best decision I made because of all the reasons I talked about already, right?
Yeah.
And I think on top of that, at a professional level, at companies that I built networks and relationships, I always had to be the strong, sort of stoic person. You can't show vulnerability or weakness, right? It is just going to reflect on you and your position. All of a sudden, I was surrounded by women who understood professionally what I was talking about. They could teach me, they could support me, they could kick me when I needed that little nudge. And I felt I could be vulnerable and share very openly in a way that I really, in a professional context, I hadn't experienced before.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great because I think there's so many questions that come from yeah, in a self-funded environment, and I think that was very helpful and honest, frankly, about how you guys sort of just unpacked it, right? We do know that there is a large portion of our members that receive some support from their employer. And so a lot of folks come in and they're like, okay, and even then it's not like you can just go take the money from the, as Shauna was saying, like, let me just take it out of the coffers and spend it. Oftentimes you need to make a justification. So I should just tell folks that are, just checking us out for the first time or alumni reminding, we do provide and help you with, a clear kind of email template, just ways that you can share with the employer, kind of like a sponsorship one pager kind of thing with talking points that whether you're in negotiation like Shauna was, where you can say, okay, here's my 25 points on my contract. And by the way, here's the things why Chief lines up. Whenever that point is, it's a way to help prove why an investment in Chief is an investment in the organization, or an investment in you is an investment in the organization too. And we all need a little guidance about how to present the value of investing in me. Right. And I think that's what we're committed to kind of help that out. So I just say that aside for those who are employers, or even we're happy to give that template to people who are self-investing too, or self sponsoring as well, because sometimes you just need a reminder as to what the why.